Free Japan Channel number 96. Today, August 10th, Sunday. The time is 6 p.m. Good evening, everybody. Midsummer. Are you enjoying your summer? Here in Japan, the hottest season is going by, and now today is also raining. It is raining here. Therefore, the temperature will drop gradually. Summer is going by, and autumn is coming soon. Anyway, today's FGC topic is the decline of Japan Communist Party. Here in Japan, last month in July, the national election was held, and the result was very staggering for everyone here in Japan. First, a so-called conservative party such as Sansei Party and Japan Conservative Party got seats in the Diet. Sansei Party got even 14 seats from zero. Wow, it's something. And Japan Conservative Party also got 2 seats. Therefore, conservative faction in Japanese politics got the momentum here in Japan. This is a very historical phenomenon, in my opinion. On the other hand, today's topic, Japan Communist Party lost the seat, and only 3 seats were allocated to Japan Communist Party. In Tokyo District, candidate Kira, Yoshiko Kira, this is a woman candidate, she got the seat in the local district. However, the remaining 2 seats are national bloc. Therefore, the total votes which Japan Communist Party got reflected these 2 seats. However, Japan Communist Party got only 3 seats only. This is a decline of this party. Marxism is already obsolete from every point of view, and planned economy is reaching cul-de-sac in every socialist country. In China, the name is Chinese Communist Party. The name is Chinese Communist Party, but this Chinese Communist Party doesn't run their own country according to Marxism or according to socialism, because economic liberalism or competition is implemented in China. In other countries, planned economy was discarded long ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Soviet Union also disappeared, didn't it? In this sense, the pure socialism or pure communism can be seen only in the North Korea in the present world affair, in my opinion. And when we look at the situation of North Korea, especially the situation of the people, it is nothing but misery. It is nothing but misery in the North Korea, especially the life of ordinary people. If we compare the situation of North Korea with that of South Korea, the difference is all the clearer. South Korea is now enjoying economic boost In the 1950s, when the Korean War was waged between North and South, the economic level of the South Korea, was even lower than that of North Korea. After 60 years or 70 years, this situation is ameliorated rapidly in the South Korea, and now South Korea is one of the G20 countries, and it boasts of economic upturn. In this way, socialism or Marxism is obsolete, out of date in the present international politics. And Japan Communist Party is still advocating this Marxism in this capitalist country, Japan. Maybe some of you who listen to this FGC from overseas would be surprised that the Communist Party is allowed in Japanese politics now. Maybe some of you will be surprised at this fact, won't you? In this sense, Japan is a very free country, and everyone can say anything except for libel, except for the words wounding somebody else. Therefore, communists can also say their opinions freely, and Japan Communist Party have been there for 70 years or 80 years in the post-war era. In fact, Japan Communist Party was established in 1922, and at that time, this party was illegal. This party was regarded illegal by the authority at the time. Therefore, in the pre-war period, Japan Communist Party was illegal, and the history of this party in the pre-war era was always the history of arrest, history of torture, and history of death or imprisonment. Some of the leaders who led Japan Communist Party after the war, that is, in the post-war era, for example, Kenji Miyamoto, he was incarcerated in the Abashiri prison for 12 years, for as long as 12 years, and Miyamoto endured these 12 years in the prison. So he spent his youth there, his 20s and 30s. Many people were moved after the war that several invincible communists were fighting against the totalitarianism of Japan or militarism of Japan. So after the war, the popularity of Japan, newly established Japan Communist Party was so increased in Japanese politics. In the first election after the war, Japan Communist Party got 5 seats in the Diet. In the pre-war period and during the war, Japan Communist Party was always illegal. So compared to this history, these 5 seats after the war was significant for not only communists, but also for all Japanese people. In 1950s, Japan Communist Party was divided into 2 factions. One faction aims at military revolution, just like Russian Revolution or Chinese Revolution. And the other faction aims at democratic parliamentary hegemony. And Miyamoto, who spent 12 years in prison during the war, chose the latter alternative, the latter option, that is democratic parliamentary hegemony. And he expelled the first faction, therefore vandalism and military revolution, from the party. It was 1955, so 10 years after the war. Then, for 70 years, Japan Communist Party got the influence, political influence in the diet, Japanese diet. Even after the collapse of Soviet Union, it was 1990s, Japan Communist Party got a degree of popularity and degree of votes from the people. For example, this party, Japan Communist Party, has been always opposed to consumption tax here in Japan. Now there are so many parties who object to the consumption tax, except for LDP, Komme Party, or Constitutional Democratic Party. Except these big parties, there are so many parties now in Japan who assert the abolition of consumption tax or the decrease of consumption tax rate. Japan Communist Party was a precursor in the objection of consumption tax. Therefore, in this sense, there have been always some people who endorsed Japan Communist Party. However, Marxism, and socialism is not supported even in Japan, because people don't agree with this planned economy. Planned economy leads to the misery. This is already proved in the history in the Soviet Union, Eastern Europe, and in the North Korea. China excluded, or China removed this Marxism from the economy. Then it witnessed such economic growth in 1990s and 2000 era. The decline of Japan Communist Party, this is an inevitable phenomenon, and this tendency will not be stopped. So this tendency will continue. In the near future, Japan Communist Party will be more decreased its hegemony. Of course, Japan Communist Party will not vanish from Japanese political arena. So there are so many branches all over the world. So JCP branches, of course, and elderly people are the main part of the JCP members. However, there are some young people, perhaps children or grandchildren of elderly members. Therefore, Japan Communist Party will not vanish from Japan. But this party, unfortunately for JCP members, will not get the enough votes in the national election. Therefore, this time 3. But this trend will not change in the near future. Thank you.